Moving into real online raids at 1080p, things tighten up a little bit, but the gap is still very similar. The 9800X3D averages 112 FPS, while the 7800X3D averages 92. It's about a 22% lead. 1% and 0.1% lows dip a bit due to server load, but the margins stay pretty similar. Even with network overhead, player interactions, AI behavior, the 9800X3D maintains significantly smoother frame delivery. At 1440 online, the gains hold steady. The 9800X3D holds at 110 FPS with the 78 at 90. Again, about a 22% advantage. The gap in lows is a little bit smaller here with 18 and 24% respectively, but still enough to noticeably reduce stutters in busy areas or if you pan the camera around quickly. And even in 1440, the 9800X3D consistently feels more stable during real gameplay. Finally, there's 4K online. The 9800X3D averaged 106, while the 78 averaged 88 FPS. It's about a 20 to 21% gain, and lows follow the same trend as before. 80 versus 68 on the 1% lows, and 72 versus 60 on the 0.1% lows. This was technically the smallest percentage gap of all the tests, but still close enough that you can see the CPU bottleneck is still in play. Usually in other games, this is where you see the bottleneck start to move over to the GPU and things kind of even out, but not so here. At 1080p, the 9800X3D comes in at $7.86 per frame, while the 7800X3D lands at $8.70 per frame. Even though the 7800X3D is a little bit cheaper up front, the lower FPS output pushes its cost per performance noticeably higher. At 1440, that trend continues. The 9800X3D sits at $8 per frame, while the 7800X3D is at $8.89 per frame. The gap is almost identical. The newer chip simply gives you more performance for the money, so you're getting more value out of it, even though the upfront cost is more. Lastly, at 4K, it's the same story. The 9800X3D comes in at $8.30 per frame, while the 7800X3D jumps to $9.09 per frame. So no matter the resolution, the 9800X3D ends up being the more cost-efficient option. So if you're thinking about upgrading right now and you're trying to decide between the 7800X3D and the 9800X3D, my recommendation is honestly pretty simple. Go with the 9800X3D. Right now, the 78 sits around $400 and the 98 is around $480. Prices will obviously vary depending on your region and different sales that are going on, but this is based on the most common pricing. So that difference is roughly $80. For that small of a price difference, getting 20 to 25% more performance is basically unheard of. There's just no other hardware upgrade that's going to give you that kind of uplift